and make sure it's transparent and fair to everybody that we're doing this. So.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Terry, this isn't a cost overrun change order, this is a scope change order,
It's
correct?
a new project, yep.
So, well, new project, but we're keeping it under the same contract
Yeah.
to avoid paying another mobilization fee, and to avoid a delay till the spring.
Yeah,
So-
April time, yeah.
They didn't go over their initial contract,
No.
we're adding to their contract.
Right.
And you mentioned 3.2 million, but 100% is paid by,
Under this grant, that's correct, yeah.
Good. Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve the change order as requested.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any that oppose? Ayes have it. Thank you, Terry. Item 9, ordinance. An ordinance to provide for termination of an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Spartanburg relating to the central, certain written agreement with Union County for the development of a jointly owned and operated industrial business park. Presenter will be Mr. Robert Kohler, city attorney.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. If I can give you a little bit of background, back in 1998, the city created a tax rebate or tax incentive program. It was based on the theory of a multi-county industrial park, and I'll tell you what that is briefly in a second, but what it was a plan to revitalize some of our corridors, and we called it the Business Corridor Incentive Tax Rebate Program. The first thing that had to happen was the county of Spartanburg and the county of Union had to join together and create what's called a multi-county industrial park. Once they joined to create that, we identified parcels in the city that could join that park. Once a parcel joined that park, the parcel could qualify for tax rebates if the owner of the parcel engaged in a revitalization or rehabilitation, remodeling of his parcel. If they spent at least $250,000, they could qualify for rebates for up to 15 years. The largest parcel to engage or to participate in this multi-county industrial park was Hillcrest Shopping Mall. The owner spent about $15 million. They received about $2 million in tax rebates. As you know, we're still quarreling over the last million in that project. But about 13 other projects ranging from a couple $100,000 up to nearly $1 million also remodeled their parcels, and for the next 15 years, a fraction of their property taxes came back to them. The way it worked essentially was that a parcel would pay its full property tax, 30% of that would go to the normal taxing entities, 30% would go to the city of to the city of Spartanburg. 30% would go to rebate to the property owners, and 40% would come to the city of Spartanburg for economic development. The entire project generated millions of dollars of incentive money that ended up in our economic development coffers. It generated about $4 million in tax rebates for the property owners, and all of the other taxing entities recognized or got their normal taxing dollars that they would have seen before remodeling. The last parcel to engage in the program came in 2008. They've been through it. They got their 15 years of rebates, and so by statute, there are no more parcels that could come in. So it is now time to put this multi-county industrial park to bed. We will terminate it and terminate our agreement with the county, and the county will terminate its agreement with Union. So it was a highly successful program, a couple of hiccups along the way, but it's time to just put this one to bed and move on to our other tax incentive programs.
Mr. Rain?
Is that because we have to put it to bed by statute, or could we extend it and we're choosing not to?
This one, that's a good question. This one was executed back in 1999 with a 23-year useful life. So by statute, unless we got all three partners to agree, it is expired.
Is there a reason we would want to get all three partners to agree to continue it, or is it we have other better?
I think there's other and better projects that are in the pipeline. And I think the city manager can address this better as far as capital planning, but this was based on a fee in lieu of taxes model. There are other special revenue credit models that we've used before you recently. Most prevalent are rebates for abandoned buildings, abandoned textile credit, and those type of things. So again, I think it's worth exploring in the future, but we would have to start from scratch and create a new multi-county industrial park and identify parcels that were ripe for revitalization. This one worked to revitalize a lot of the corridor coming into the city.
And Bob, as this one expires, or we have a downtown development district, do we have any other multi-county industrial parks?
I can't think of any that are still active. The downtown development it will go on for decades now because of the baseball stadium, but I can't think of any other multi-county industrial parks that we're participating in.
This was initiated at a time where we had a different relationship with the county in regard to economic development. And we've had success in recent years on using multiple programs and a high degree of cooperation with the county, and we plan to continue that. But this was a structured program that made sense at that time, but given our degree of cooperation and our relationship with them now, the more flexible approach we're currently using today is what I'd recommend that we continue to pursue.
And I'd point out that this is work intense. It takes a lot of effort every year for the taxing authority to get the millage right for the taxing entities, the city, and the rebate to the property owner. It took a lot of effort for county finance and our finance group over the last 20 years to operate it. And again, it essentially operated flawlessly. One little hiccup, but it's been good. But it's a lot of work.
Out of curiosity, did the county not participate in this? Was this just the city's share of taxes, or was it like the city and the county share?
It was both. It was both.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we terminate the intergovernmental agreement. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Kohler.
Sir.
Item 10, we have a public hearing.
So if I can correct you, I'm sorry. So we've got before you the next two items, and I apologize for interrupting. They're both annexations.
Right.
What we're asking council to do tonight is to take first reading of the annexation. Of course, all annexations require 2 readings and a public hearing. Because of the notice requirements for public hearing, we couldn't get those done in time for this meeting and meet the year-end schedule. So we are planning to do a reading tonight, then before your next reading, we will publish notice of the public hearing, and 15 days will pass, and then you will have your public hearing before the second reading. As long as it gets done before one reading, I think all the interested parties will have ample opportunity to address you. So the bottom line is we're asking you to do first reading tonight, second reading on December 18th, and at that point, we'll have the opportunity for anybody that wishes from the public to speak to be here to speak.
So you're saying tonight that we did not have it out in time?
We couldn't, we had to get it to the planning commission quickly, and then there wasn't time between the planning commission's recommendation and tonight's meeting, but there will be plenty of time between tonight's meeting and December 18th to notice the public hearing.
So we'll do our questioning and diligence at this meeting. We won't have to redo any of that at the next meeting and just go straight into a public hearing.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and you can continue to ask any questions that arise in your mind between now and December.
Let's get it done tonight.
But no need for the public hearing tonight,
Correct.
because we didn't post it.
That's right.
Should we have amended that at the beginning, just to be,
I think it's okay. I don't think there's any harm in over notifying a public hearing.
Okay.
I mean, I think it'd be problematic if we didn't notify and went forward with it. But anybody that's here tonight for the public hearing will now know that it's December 18th.
Or the way to do it would be for somebody to make a motion that we waive the public hearing. I mean,
Yes.
we table the public hearings for tonight until our next meeting.
You can do that as well.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
good, all in favor?
Aye.
Any that oppose? Ayes have it, I feel a lot better about it. So now we'll just have an ordinance.
That's right.
An ordinance to provide for annexation of property located at 2810 East Main Street. Said property is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is further identified as parcel ID 7-10-00-001.01 on the Spartanburg County tax map, and further to amend official zoning map of the city of Spartanburg to include the annexed property, and further to rezone a portion of the property property zoned as B1 Neighborhood Shopping District. First reading. Mr. Kohler, still up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and council members. So as you know, there is essentially only one way to annex property into the city in the state of South Carolina, and that is to have the property be touching city boundary and have a request from the property owner to be brought into the city. In this case, we have both. The QT parcel is what we're seeking to annex in, what the owner is seeking to be annexed in, and we're asking you to approve that. So the QT is touching city property because it's adjacent to existing city property. This is the QT just out East Main Street as you pass the new high school on your left-hand side. At the beginning of the QT's project of construction, they asked the city to provide them with city water and sewer. As you know, that anytime we offer our city water and our city sewage, we ask the owners to sign what's called an annexation agreement. They agree at that time in accepting our water and our sewer that if and when council's ready, they can be annexed into the city. They freely signed that agreement and proceeded with the construction of QT. It has now been built, it is operating, and they are desiring to come inside. We not only have the water annexation agreement, we've got a request from the owners to come in. So we've got the two things that are required in the state. They're touching our boundaries, and they've requested you all to bring them into the city. That's what will happen if you pass this on 2 readings. Of course, the benefit to QT will be they will get the best fire, the best police, the best garbage, the insurance rates will be better. So they want to take advantage of all the things that the city offers and be part of the city boundaries. That's the project before you. I'll be glad to answer any questions. I know planning and zoning worked with them closely, building codes worked with them closely in getting the project built, but it was always the anticipation of QT to be part of the city once they were constructed.
So Bob, I mean, I love it when we annex property, but, you know, under the current framework. And one question I have with some of these properties, though, that are being developed and then they ask to annex after they've been developed. You mentioned that they've worked with our building codes and our planning staff. So this development, this QT, as it is now completed, would have otherwise qualified for like our landscaping standards and design standard and all the things that we would require for a property that was already in the city?
Yeah, I mean, perhaps it may have gone through a different review, but again, it's not unusual for these properties to develop under county code and then ask to come in. We would certainly.
Right, that's my question.
Yeah, we would
Yeah.
certainly review that if it's not an appropriate structure. I think the QT is a standard model around the southeast, so I don't think that's been a concern of our planning and zoning and building codes have watched the project, so I don't think that's a problem. And also, as you know, you've got a recommendation before you from Planning Commission who has to stamp their approval on that. They went through that process last week and again appeared to have not any concerns or issues. The planning commissioners actually often go out to the project and look at it. So you've got the approval, but you're correct in that it is constructed under a county code, but we wouldn't, I don't think the planning commission would have given it the thumbs up.
And I'm not picking on QT, but I'm just using it as an example to understand the process. So you mentioned that they requested, the timing of the annexation is our choosing at this point.
That's correct.
So why would we have not, I mean, under any circumstances, why wouldn't we normally, at the time of their request, why wouldn't we go ahead and annex? So then whatever's developed will be developed under our codes and standards.
I can answer that.
Okay.
So typically, if you've started your development process and you find out that in exchange for water and sewer, you're gonna have to annex into a city, every city and county I've been in on the development side, you want to finish with, because you're restarting, you're losing
Gotcha.
6 months of time if you restart your permitting and development process with a whole nother AHJ or agency of jurisdiction. So you always ask to okay, we understand we need to annex to get water and sewer. Let us finish the process that we're under, because they've already got approvals. And then upon completion, within X number of days, we'll annex it.
Okay.
And I think that's standard everywhere that I've been, because
I think that's
you're gonna
exact-
scare them off if you're like, no, you,
No, I get, yeah,
You
you
gotta
don't
lose
wanna do
six- you
that,
gotta
I
lose
just wanted
6
to make
months of
sure,
time.
yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we weren't letting things play out and, you know, we're coming in on the backside, but, I mean, that explanation makes sense, I can understand.
because you're gonna have trade permits, you're gonna have
Yeah.
tenant improvement permits, you're gonna be doing permits the entire construction process. And if you're swapping inspectors and permitters, it creates a headache for both the city and the county.
That's right.
Councilwoman.
I just probably don't make any sense, but looking at the map, that's on the left side of East Main Street. So, and look as if there's no homes there.
They're,
They're not.
well, it will be soon, but currently,
Right.
right now, they're not.
So, across the street, will it still be the county
Yes.
and won't affect anything, any taxes to the neighbors across the street?
No, only this parcel is being affected by this action, and
I think this would be our first parcel east of Zion Hill
it
Road.
is the farthest east reaching parcel.
We have
I
not
believe.
crossed Zion Hill Road yet. This would be the first time.
Okay.
It's the far, far east.
And it-
That goes right across the here.
It will be a QT one way or the other, just the question is whether it be operating in our city
Yeah, no.
or in the county, and so I know they'd rather be in the city, and I think we'd rather have them in there for the advantages for our purposes.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we pass the, ordinance at first reading as drafted.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any that oppose? Ayes have it, thank you. So, B, Mr. Kohler, an ordinance to provide for the annexation of property located at 2097 Southport Road. Said property is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is further identified as parcel ID 7-21-02-005.00 on the Spartanburg County tax map, and further to amend the official zoning map of the city of Spartanburg to include the annexed property, and further to rezone a portion of the property zone B1 Neighborhood Shopping District. First reader again, Mr. Kohler.
Thank you, Mayor, thank you, council members. Same thing, this parcel is now an operating Bojangles, very similar scenario. They were constructed while in the county. They now are on a parcel that is touched on 3 sides by city boundaries, and they've also requested to come into the city to take advantage of our services that we offer them. They also were constructed as part of a water covenant agreement, so not only did they agree to come in when council was ready, willing, and able to take them in, but we've had a request from the owners to be annexed in, and so before you is their request, or the staff's request, to annex Bojangles into the city.
Bob, I know that property is touched on 3 sides by the city. Is the entire shopping center and all of the out parcels on that Southport, Cedar Springs section down toward Union Street, are all those parcels in the city? Or is there a scatter map?
Just before this meeting, I pulled up the assessor's website, and I've tried to highlight the red. So, yeah, everything across from the Bojangles,
Not, right?
no, that's all city. This is all city. I don't know if you can see.
The
this.
big
Yeah.
lots and
Yeah,
all that
all that's
city?
in the
That's
city.
big lots,
The Walmart?
It's all in the city.
all in the city.
Yep, both sides. This is the sort of the last piece of the 2
And what
centers.
about like across the street from Foster's Tavern where the
Yeah.
McDonald's and the Walmart?
Right.
That's all in the city as well? Huh.
We could pull up, if you really want to see the assessor,
No, that's fine, I just,
Spartan County Assessor's website, it shows it, but yeah, this is all, it shows up red on the assessor's website, it's all red.
so this is just the last remaining piece of that
It's
overall.
almost created an enclave or a donut hole, so it makes
Right.
very good sense to bring it in.
Yeah,
It'll make
yeah, no,
sense
I
for
agree.
fire and police. So again, that's staff's request for you on the Bojangles property. Again, we will do a public hearing on the 18th, and Anybody that has any comments will have an opportunity to speak to you before you make your final decision.
That Bojangles has been there a little while. Why is it just now coming?
I think planning and zoning just had their hands full, and it sat and didn't make it to you quickly. We realized the end of the year was coming up, and it was time to get it in here and get it on the tax roll.
All right. Good.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we, on first reading, pass the ordinance to provide for the annexation of Bojangles.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Hear a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Do I hear anyone opposed? Ayes have it, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Story, staff updates.
Pause just a minute and let these gentlemen move on to saving the world.
To the Viking Early College, I do want to say thank you all for taking time out of your schedule, college students and high school students. So I will be by to see you soon. Happy holidays to you and your families, and wish you all the best. Thank you, sir. Michael, did Michael leave out? Let him go. That's fine. Good. Mr. Story.
Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to be very brief tonight in staff updates. Work continues on debris removal from Hurricane Helene. We are now up over 110,000 cubic yards of material moved. I didn't update my ratios, but last time we were together, we were at about 85. Again, another 25,000 cubic yards moved in that 2-week span. We continue to emphasize to the public the same points that we will be back. There are times that seem very confusing because we might have one crew with one level of equipment take most of a pile of from an area, but leave a little bit, and it confuses folks. It has to do with the capacity of the trucks and the equipment that we have there at that time. And so we will be making multiple passes throughout the city, and we will continue that work for the foreseeable future. But it is a truly massive amount of material that's being moved and processed, and pleased with the efforts of the team. They will be taking Thursday off, and they're going to knock off a little bit early on Wednesday, but they'll be back at it over the long weekend, still running 7 days a week. We are continuing to work with FEMA on reimbursements and support and communication to affected property owners and things of that nature. And so that work continues and will continue in the coming weeks. Wanted to briefly mention that you all are aware that we anticipate sort of a substantial discussion about the Morgan Square at your December council meeting. And in preparation for that, we are having meetings. We've had one of 2 planned sessions with businesses that are immediately on the square, and then the design review board will look at the vertical construction aspects of that. And we are working on additional pricing information so that we'll have a full lay of the land about any issues that remain unresolved and cost and that kind of thing for our deep dive in December. So certainly encourage any interested stakeholders to attend those public meetings as well. And wanted to call your attention to the programming that is the holiday themed programming that's occurring in the community, particularly on Morgan Square. We've got Santa on the Square events. If folks will, I don't have the dates and times, but if folks will check our website and social media channels for information associated with those activities and holiday lighting and things of that nature. The Dickens of a Christmas is the 6th.
The third.
Third, I could have been better.
We were gonna make those announcements.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I will leave those be. But anyway, it's a fun time in the community, and I'm glad that I think particularly this holiday season, it will be great to see folks out and about after a rough fall with Hurricane Helene. Certainly welcome any questions you have. Those were the things I wanted to quickly highlight.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
if I may, 2 Helene questions. Last week you shared that our crews had only gotten to about 50% of the city.
Yes.
Is there?
And that was a rough guess.
Right.
Yes.
It's more than that now.
Yes.
I would guess.
Yes.
Okay. And then about the FEMA reimbursement for the green waste crews, are we paying that up front and we submit for reimbursement through FEMA, or are they paying that directly?
Some of both, depending on the nature of the cost, and we are in close communication. We actually have a third party providing us technical assistance to sort of shorten that window of any time that we are, have to tie up our cash for things that we know are likely to be reimbursed. We want to shorten that time window as best we can. Don't anticipate a cash flow issue for us.
Okay.
We're in good shape financially, and at this point of the year, finance team feels pretty comfortable.
Is that reimbursement window a matter of months or years usually with FEMA?
And again, it'll be some of both in that the obvious quick stuff that is well documented turns around pretty quickly. Things that require additional evaluation of additional due diligence on their part can take quite some time. So we will have some. The big money, though, we think will be quick.
And you've said in the past that there's no financial constraint to getting the job done.
That's
and
correct.
You still stand by that statement with us upfronting some of that cash?
That is correct, yes.
And
We
maybe
are.
holding that for a couple years?
What's that?
And holding that expense for a couple years?
Yeah, we don't think we'll end up being extended that long this go round because of the nature and scale of it and the infrastructure it has. In the most recent time we were engaged with FEMA at anywhere near to any significant depth was the tornado in February of 2020. And in that case, you had a much smaller geography affected, and it did take longer to work through that. But in this case, we're feeling good. We've got a better team and mechanism for working through that.
Any questions of Mr. Stewart? Any more questions? No other questions? Wow. All right, we're at staff updates. Guess
All
who?
right. I was gonna address the group of young men, but I'll save that and just say, happy Thanksgiving. I look forward to seeing all of my council members at the Turkey Trot bright and early Thanksgiving Day to run an 8K. I will not be running it. But that's it.
You will be there, though.
I will be there. I will be walking it.
Mr. Farmer?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, you correctly pointed out with the high school students here, the impact, the circular impact of the Johnson gift and the Meeting Street Fund, and what that means to first generation of college students, but also, current and future generations of college students here in our community. And I think we cannot underestimate the impact that will have. Also, I know several of us had an opportunity to attend the One Spartanburg annual meeting last Thursday night. It was a great event. They keep it short, inside an hour, which we all appreciated on a cold night. But also, they recognized some outstanding citizens in our community, and Leroy Jeter, Grayson Furness, Jack and Stacy McBride, and Alan Smith all were recognized, and we appreciate all the wonderful things that they each individually do in our community. And then, of course, always this time of year, happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
All right, Councilman Brown.
Mr. Mayor, I don't have a whole lot. I was on a little short
honeymoon. I appreciate all of my colleagues that were able to attend our wedding. Jamie led us in the electric slide. It was quite entertaining.
Not.
But thank you all for being there and for showing us so much love and support. And I actually need to sign up for that turkey. I will not be running, but Nat is going to run, so I feel like maybe I should walk really briskly. I'm really, really hoping that there's no rain, or if it does come, it comes later in the afternoon. So happy Thanksgiving to you all. Wear your stretchy pants, and we'll see you next time.
I do anticipate that rain on Thanksgiving. That's the big one. Councilman Rain.
Happy Thanksgiving. Appreciate everyone being here. And none of y'all hit on the Dickens of a Quick Christmas on the 3rd. The parade is the 10th. And Santa on the Square starts next week. None of you guys hit that, so.
We were saving it just for you.
Obligated to re-emphasize the 3rd and the 10th for the Dickens of a Christmas and the parade, and then Santa on the Square, that goes.
That's Santa, 5th, 12th, and 19th.
12th to the
5th, 12th, and the 19th.
5th, 12th, 19th.
Did you say 5th, 12th, and 19th? Yeah, Thursdays.
Every Thursday.
Good.
Well, I just want to say thank you to, and I really appreciate the Viking Early School participants that was in the audience. That's a wonderful thing to see. I also want to thank George and Susu Johnson for their initiative of supporting the needy children who may not be able to go to college due to their finances. It's a wonderful thing. I just got back from the best school in the world, Claflin University homecoming, and it was extraordinary. And we had, I think, about 15 exemplary students who exceed 4.9% in average GPA. So, and you know, those students, we had a big gala to support those students and any student who needs some financial support. And I'm proud to say that Nissan of Orangeburg gave and donated over $500,000 towards that scholarship fund. So it was outstanding, and I had a great time on tailgating. For those, you know, we don't have a football team, but we got a basketball team, women and men. So I also spent, the mayor and I both spent 4 days and 5 nights in Tampa for the 100th celebration of the National League of Cities. It was wonderful. And anytime someone can serve almost 4,000 people fresh lobster, it was awesome. We had beautiful entertainment. I learned a lot. I shared with Chris one of the ideas that I saw. I hope it can be on Daniel Morgan for a permanent stay when we redevelop. Also, I really appreciate the recognition that was given to Mr. Leroy Jeter, who is one of our citizens for District 5. You all have a very nice Thanksgiving. I will not be at the turkey because I will be turkeying in Raleigh, North Carolina. So for the next 3-4 weekends, I'll be out of town, enjoying myself some and not. Thank you for coming.
As speaking of the NLC meeting, NLC was National League of Cities Conference in Tampa. Great conference, some great ideas. Even in November in Tampa, Florida, they had a Christmas festivity downtown, and it was really nice. So Shay actually went with me, and she's, Jerome, why don't we do this in Spartanburg? We're not Tampa, we're Spartanburgs, baby. So, but anyway, annual meeting, one Spartanburg annual meeting. Congratulations to all the award winners. Great job by One Spartanburg and what they do. Really do appreciate them and their hard work. I do look forward to the Morgan Square conversation, and I hope the people that are listening, I'm sure we will get some questions and some comments, so be a part of what is coming to Morgan Square. I won't reiterate, but the mayor will walk. That will be part of the mayor and council will walk in the parade on Tuesday the 10th which starts at 6:30. So come out and participate in the parade and watch the parade, but also Dickens of a Christmas. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving community dinner at C.C. Woodson will start at 6 and go to 8. The community Thanksgiving service will start at 6:30, and that will be at the Church of the Advent on tomorrow as well. I will bring greetings there. Our Little League football, they couldn't join us tonight, but we had a championship team from the Little Leagues. We do look forward to bringing them in front of us as well, just to congratulate them on their championship. Sustaining Way and Regenesis Healthcare had a food distribution this past Saturday over at Carver Middle School. Outstanding event. Several hundred citizens across Spartanburg City and County received a turkey, collard greens, corn, squash, their Thanksgiving meal if they wanted to prepare it. Given out by Sustaining Way, which is headed up by Michael Brown, and Regenesis Healthcare, which is headed by Marlon Hunter. So thank them for always thinking about our community. Good news. Dr. Marquise Clark has been named the 2025 Elementary School Principal of the Year. I hope I could say that. I've said it now. I know they just gave the announcement to District 7, so the state of South Carolina. Yep, he's the state elementary principal of the year.
We probably just found out.
He already knew, but I didn't know if it was public. But to Councilwoman Sally, Mayor Pro Tem made let it be known that we were in Tampa, Florida when the announcement came from Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Johnson. And as he would say, I always say, Mr. Johnson, call me George, to George and Susu. I do want to tell them, I don't know if they're watching or not, but just how appreciative we are and what this community means to you guys to give out an extraordinary gift to our community for kids that are not as fortunate as others. So talking with Dr. Harris, and he said life just hit kids, and that's why they leave school. He's talking about students that are juniors, sophomores, that are currently working on a degree, and life hits them for whatever reason. And a lot of time that life is finances. And with a gift like this, if the kids are doing their part, the Johnsons have showed they're willing to do their part for this community. So this a generational change, man. This goes so far beyond today, tomorrow. This can change generations. And I would like to publicly, because I did not make the meeting, just say thank you to the Johnsons. And I really do hope they enjoy their Thanksgiving, their holiday season, and just thank you for what you do for Spartanburg. Again, so thank you all. And do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we move into executive session.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for coming and joining us this evening. We're heading into executive session.
You did good, Eric. Ma'am, you did good.